Hi, welcome back to AFTV and welcome back to another FANZONE. It's time to hear from you guys and have your say. All you have to do is download the AFTV Plus app and come and join the conversation. What was the conversation today? Very simply, should we be taking every cup competition seriously? I will quickly just say, I believe yes. However, there is a lot we can unpack here. I'm joined by Turkish, as you can see on your screen. And we're going to kind of just unpack it in its full entirety because, in my opinion, you know, there's a fixture congestion. Should we be taking the EFL Cup seriously? Is it a Mickey Mouse trophy? Last season, I was laughing at United fans when they were, you know, going crazy that they won that and bigging up Ten Hag and all this. And I feel like with what we've seen so far from Arsenal in injuries and whatnot, should we be taking all these competitions to their maximum? Should we be pushing ourselves to be picking up all these trophies? And we're going to unpack it. We're going to hear from you guys. We're going to hear from Turkish. I'm going to get into this and delve into it. There's also other news around today that we're going to discuss. Ivan Toney links, which we spoke about before, and also, you know, players being fully fit to return for Man City. I think it would be a nice conversation to see if Arsenal can compete for the league title. I know it's a long way off, but with a fully fit side, can it be done? But anyway, Turkish, let's get straight into this because yesterday I was at Brentford filming previews alongside James and Laurie. Guys, that'll be out on the channel very soon, so make sure you check it out. And where we had big confusion and struggle was picking the 11 to start against Brentford. Now, we haven't heard from you. We're not going to hear from you unless we hear from you in today's show. And I want to get your kind of thoughts on, firstly, the Carabao Cup, and secondly, who would you like to see play? Are you going to go full strength and take it as serious like other managers like Pep do and take every cup competition serious? Or are you aware that that could hinder us going forward?
See the question, like taking it all serious. Obviously, the initial response or answer to that generally would be yes, because of the amount of money we've spent, how far we've come in 3 years, and I understand that. But for me, taking the competition seriously would mean rotating and getting the players that are on the fringes or getting the players that need to prove themselves ready for their chance in the more serious competitions. Because at the end of last season there was a lot of Emile Smith-Rowe wasn't managed well enough in the season. Like, how can you just, you know, randomly chuck him in there when people were calling for Emile Smith-Rowe at the end of the season, or Reece Nelson, or Mod Vieira's another one who towards the end of the season came in, but he looked very cold, let's say. So the League Cup, in my opinion, is an opportunity for us to take it serious in the sense where I believe we can rotate, or we should be able to rotate the side and still win a game, albeit a difficult game away at Brentford. Okay.
That means you have to rotate. I like what you've said there. That means you have to rotate. Yes, smartly. You can't just take everyone out. But that's
where my opinion differs a bit, because of the circumstance we're in. Because of the injuries we have now, we cannot afford another injury to a crucial player. We cannot afford that now. So for me, it will be in your 11, there's no heavy rotation.
So in your 11, you don't heavy rotation. So I don't expect.
In my 11, no Saka.
Wow.
No Odegaard.
Let's do this. No Saliba. Ryan in the comments says start Win up top.
Don't even get me started on Win. Yeah, don't even. Listen, I've said what I've said. We move. Yeah, that's the only time I'm referencing that. I've said what I've said.
Sorry, I know you said don't bring up Win in this live, but here we are. The comments that they're tuned in. Big up Ryan, because he's clearly watching the content.
Look, anyway, Curtis says don't mention Win. Turkish might lose it, bro.
You ready, guys? Just give you an insight before we started this. Before we went live on air, he said, "Don't do it, man. I don't want to hear about it. Please don't bring it up." But the comments, it's you lot allow it.
They love it.
But let's get into your 11, because I hear what you're saying. You're going to take it serious by rotating, but I'm sorry, this is a Brentford side at the end of the day, and they're not going to take it lightly. So your rotation, heavily rotated. Am I seeing the youngsters in Ethan Nwaneri's and that, or are you saying rotation of just the fringe players? Because even for me, I don't actually think the fringe players get the job done, if I'm being really honest. But let me hear who you've got in mind. Anyway,
no, but I get you. There is a big, like, that's why I used the word should. At this stage now, we should be able to rotate and still be quietly confident about beating Brentford away from home. That's my thing. Should is not will, or you know, it's not predicting the future. It should, based off of what we know 4 years into the process, the money that we've spent challenging Manchester City last year for the Premier League title. We should now be in a position, because at the end of last season, depth was the question mark around the side. So this summer we spent 210 mil. Depth should be less of a question now. So I think we should be able to rotate and win. But will we? That's another question. So in terms of rotation,
go.
Ramsdale is obviously in goal. I think that's an easy one.
Yep.
because everyone looked at this draw, including myself, and said that's going to be Raya's debut. It turns out to be Ramsdale's chance to clap back, fight back for his number one spot. So Ramsdale will start in goal.
Did you see the comments from Jamie Carragher when he said about, you can't win a Premier League with Ramsdale in goal? His father and himself has clapped back at that. Actually, he was very disappointed.
Is that what he said, or did he call Ramsdale's clapping performative?
No, he said he's.
Oh, is it? You can't win the title with Ramsdale in goal.
And I'll play it out to you after this. But yeah, I was quite shocked. I watched it this morning, but I know there's been a lot of today in the media. There's been a lot of anger from their side for Jamie Carragher to say that.
I mean, Ramsdale's a very good keeper, and he's helped turn us around. Is Carragher wrong? It's hard to say he's wrong until it gets done.
Yeah.
And when you look at pretty much every Premier League champion since the Premier League began, there's great keepers. All right, you might argue that Leicester with Kasper Schmeichel, he's not great. He was a good / maybe very good keeper at that stage. But more often than not, teams that win the Premier League have a great keeper in goal. So I can understand that. Listen, again, this whole sensitivity that a lot of our fans have around comments that Gary Neville might make or Jamie Carragher might make, or 2 years ago when Thierry Henry questioned some of Arteta. I see fans getting onto Thierry Henry on Twitter. So there's this whole there's this attitude where it's it's us against the world, but certain times let people talk who like to talk. And if it's a legend like Henry talking, listen, if you don't agree, cool, leave it. Not everything requires a clapback or a quote tweet or an Instagram story or, not everything requires that. Yeah. And these people will, and I'm not saying Henry here, I'm saying more Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. You think they don't see that? They might do 5 tweets in a week or make 5 comments in a week. One about Arsenal, one about United, one about Chelsea, one about City, one about Liverpool, let's say. More often than not, the most retweeted ones, the one that gets the most traction is the Arsenal ones, because of how sensitive we can be over comments being made with, when we disagree with them. And they thrive off that. Why wouldn't they then chase that traction? Because that's the world we live in, especially when these presenters and pundits who are in the professional media, their metrics are similar to people on YouTube. Get the views. Talk about the sensitive topics. But the sensitive topics always tend to be around Arsenal and Man United. I'll include Man United 100%. In that. So I wouldn't pay too much mind to what Carragher said. That's his opinion. It is what it is. And it's up. And I said this on the Twitter space earlier. Some people, some players, let me say some people will thrive off of criticism. They'll use criticism and become a better person, a better player, maybe potentially being great. Yeah. And some people will cower from criticism. There's a balance to it. Some people need an arm around the shoulder and a bit of comfort and protection. Some people need to be exposed and put hung out to dry to be able to turn a corner. So there's a balance to it all.
I learned that with the Christmas top.
And I think Ramsdale's got a strong character. I mean, I know he mentioned his start to Arsenal and the opinions of Arsenal fans coming in, but he's got a strong character. So hopefully he bounces back and fights with Raya, because that means we've got 2 good keepers top fighting. Keepers, that'll be good. All right, let's run through your 11. Remember, guys, go and join us on AFTV Plus app. Click onto FANZONE. You'll be entered to the green room, and you can have your say, because we're going to be doing this with you guys. But let's go quickly Turkish and run through this. Okay, so Ramsdale.
Cool.
Probably Kivior left centre back, and
it's tough.
This one's difficult because I'm going to have to put in someone that really needs protecting, because we haven't got Holden anymore. I'll put Kivior, and
James
maybe Roy Waters.
Wow.
Maybe, why not? Because this competition is also one to shine a light on the next youth product. So I'll put Tomiyasu left back. I'll put Cedric right back.
Not Ben White next to Kivior.
I think Ben White
centre back.
I think Ben. That was the one that I had in mind.
That's what James went with.
But then I thought, listen, if I'm here trying to protect the important players for us, we can't afford to have Ben White injured. With Partey injured, it means Cedric will be making an appearance in bigger games soon enough. So
mad thing. All right.
Walters, Kivior, Tomiyasu left back, Cedric right back.
Okay.
Or actually, we got the young fullback Souza.
Yeah, Souza. Yeah.
That's an option, and then maybe you move Tomiyasu next to Kivior. So there's a few options there.
Okay.
That would probably make more sense, because then you got more experience in the centre back partnership. So let me go Souza left back.
Yep.
Is he a left back? I think he's a left back. Souza left back, Cedric right back, Tomiyasu and Kivior centre backs. Then we go into midfield. I'd probably do, based off of what we got, Jorginho, El Nene, and Havertz. Reason being with Havertz, because yes, he's played crucial games for us this season, but he needs to really, kick into gear. And people will argue that it's not the best platform, rotated side, but he's 65 mil. He's been in the league a few years now. Rise, it's time to stand up. So, Jorginho, El Nene, Havertz, Emil Smith-Rowe on the left, Reece Nelson on the right,
Lendish,
and Eddie Nketiah up top.
Yeah, Lendish. That's what I kind of went with why I put Bukayo in there, because I wanted some serious experience in there. But okay, so I would like to get a poll in the chat now. Should Arsenal take every cup competition serious? And I want to hear people from the comments. I see you guys getting involved, but for me, that's not taking the every cup competition seriously, in my opinion. I know you said that should get the job done, but when you look at what you put out there, that which I don't mind, because people are saying, Mickey Mouse Cup and should we be and no, and people are saying no, we shouldn't take this cup seriously. Obviously, the other ones, FA Cups, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, a bit different, but that is saying we don't mind bailing out at this stage. I know people will say you should be able to get a good job done, but yeah, for me,
it's a big risk.
That is.
But the way I look at it is, listen, our two left wingers are injured or have been injured, Martinelli and Trossard, and the two other players that have been there in the past 12 to 24 months, Reece Nelson and Emil Smith-Rowe, who we decided to keep, one being a new contract, they didn't get a start, and they didn't get sufficient game time come the end of the game. So I'd expect both to feature heavily in this one, because if they're not featuring heavily in this one, then I'll go back and ask, why did we keep them? Yeah. Why did we give the new contract to Reece? Why did you bother keeping Emil if in the League Cup you're not going to give them a start? We ain't got Europa League no more to give these men a start. So League Cup now has taken on less emphasis than it has done in previous years, because previous years you have Europa League and League Cup to rotate in. Now we've only.
But do you think it's right to bring in the youngsters?
I might even bring in Ranieri as well, because don't forget he came off the bench against Brentford last year, and maybe what's his name, Skelly? Yeah,
Lewis Skelly.
Yeah, he looks all right. I mean, I'd probably bring in a few of these men as well, maybe off the bench.
But is that not dropped in with some strength in there? So no, but with an Odegaard player, maybe.
I'm fearful of another injury. You're probably right. But I'm fearful of another injury, and listen, this time last year I'd be saying, yeah, you can mix some strength, but then the way Tomiyasu and Saliba both got injured in a Sporting Lisbon game, where really we could have still won the game, even though we didn't, we could have still won the game without them, or we could have still gone out without them. Yeah, we took that risk, and it had an effect on the primary competition we was trying to win. So as much as you need to take every competition serious, there's levels of serious for each competition. Okay. In the FA Cup now, there'll be a bit more rotation of strength, balance between strength, experience, and then youth and fringe. Because then the FA, for me, it's Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League.
So that one more time. So
Carabao Cup,
yeah, cool.
FA Cup,
yep.
Champions League, Premier League.
Makes sense. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, well, wicked. Listen, I'm going to go to the comments, because there are comments here, and we want to get you guys involved as much as we got the people in the wings waiting. We've got 6 callers waiting, so we'll get to them straight after our headphones will be on. But let me just read the super chats here. Thank you for everyone getting involved as well. This is a big conversation to have today. Mark T says, yes, but do we have the squad depth to do so? I like the question marks.
But my thing is, if we don't,
then what the fuck?
Then it's more what's gone on in the summer that
but is that fair though? Because there has been I know this is mad to say, yeah. You get depth to avoid getting these injuries, but like we are injury ridden at the moment, so it's like it's so hard. Because I feel like we definitely got depth. We just have loads of injuries.
It's unfortunate that 2 left wingers are out and 2 centre midfielders are out. That's the problem with our injuries, that we've got the plan A and plan B on the left out, and essentially we've got 2 of the starting 3 in the middle out, or 2 of the most important out of the 4 in the midfield out. That's what the problem is, because then that exposes depth a bit more, because then you're looking at third choices and whatnot. So it's unfortunate, the injury mini crisis that we seem to be in. But that kind of leads on to my point about, do you take more risk in this game when you've got Man City coming up in 2 weeks? Bournemouth is now really a must win this early in the season, because we can't afford to drop any more points 100%. On City or prior to the City game. So we have to protect the ones that need. Because listen, let's just say worst case scenario happens. Saliba starts, Saliba gets injured. We're in a much worse position than we were going into the game. Or Odegaard starts, Odegaard gets man, don't wish this on any player, but the risks are there, and last season exposed those risks, similar to the season before and the season before that.
It's annoying, and we're spending a lot of money in these windows. It's not like we're holding our purse tightly shut. But you're right. I think it's an interesting one. I'm going to finish off Mark T's super chat. He did say yes, but do we have the squad depth to do so? Since we're in the Champions League this year, also with the injuries to our first team, I would rotate. Now, I will be pressing the people that come onto this fan zone about how much would you rotate, because I think a lot of people still want to take this competition seriously. Or you may be on the other side and say, no, forget this. Let's focus on bigger things. Iran with a super chat says, I would only go strong in the later rounds of the Carabao. However, every other comp should be played with the strongest 11.
Yeah.
Our rotated side should still win. Now, funny enough, Iran, I hear what you're saying, but you don't get to those later rounds without going hard. If we went with what Turkish has gone with, then I don't think we make it to those stronger rounds, which that might be a problem to you, it may not be, but I just don't want to see the no rotate, let the kids play and all that, and then be really emotionally annoyed if we don't get a result or we get battered by Brentford. That's where it's gonna come.
You know, the same people that are bigging up the need to go strong in this one.
Yeah.
Would be the same people come the end of the season if we only won League Cup and let's say finished 4th and got knocked out of the Champions League in the quarters. They'd be the same people that would say we've come out of the season with a trophy, and that's my problem with it, because you got to understand the Carabao Cup is not levels. Like, that's not, and people will say you're disrespecting the competition. Like, the competition's got feelings. Like, the Carabao energy drink's gonna go into the corner and be like, oh,
they're gonna tweet saying, I'm down, people.
Like, that'll be the next one on AFTV Extra. The Turkish flips at the Carabao. But the reality is, it is the least of our worries when we're considering trophies this season.
But do you understand that not everyone has that mindset though that you have, that it's not because a lot of managers, some managers nowadays are going strong in every competition, maybe because they have the facility to do so, but also like when I was with James and Laurie doing the previews, they were like, I want Arsenal to take this seriously. I understand that it's not levels compared to the other competitions, but do you understand that some people say, no, we got to take every competition serious, as if it's levels?
There's an argument to say, to take the Premier League serious, you need to make rotations in game weeks where you've got 3 games.
I hear that.
So
there's an argument for that.
You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Going in full strength against Brentford would essentially mean you're putting that on the same pedestal as the game this weekend, which there's levels to this.
Okay. No, I hear that. I hear that loud. I just want to just get your thoughts and feelings on that. Let me go to the super chat here. Bilal says, if only our fan base had half of Turkish's mentality. You know,
and people say Turkish. Someone said Turkish. Why does Guardiola take Carabao Cup seriously? Does he? Or does Man City have such a squad that when they can rotate, they're still cold? So
this is where my brain argued with itself, because I was like, I go straight to Pep because he's won his competition so many times, and he clearly takes it serious. But again, he has that's why I said to you, the facilities. Yeah, he has the squad depth to do that. Whoever he brings in is still a high caliber. Yeah. We're trying to get there. I just don't feel like we're there yet. I think we could have been. But injuries has riddled this side. Anyway, KD with a super chat says, beggars can't be choosers. We need to win trophies to shut people out. We might need to win trophies this season.
But same
if
way,
we can't get the league, we must win.
When Saeed's telling me about, actually big up Saeed, because when United won the Carabao Cup last year, he actually came on the Big Six and he said, listen, this ain't nothing to talk about. It's nothing to rant and rave about. Yes, we got a cup. It's Ten Hag's first season. It's nice. But he said there's levels. Man United, need to be challenging for bigger things. That's the mentality, because when Man United won it, and there was Man United fans saying, we won a trophy, we had a better season than you. I was like, we won the Carabao Cup. You beat Burnley, Charlton, Nottingham Forest and Newcastle to win that. It doesn't really show levels. And yes, you've got it, but look at the start of the season you're having now. It's not even a reflection on where you're going. Yeah, it's literally just a trophy that you get in February, and really and truly, a couple of days later, no one gives a shit. That's the reality. So I don't want, Don't get it twisted. I want to win it, but I don't want to win it and then people use that as a metric of having a great season or a good season, because it's a trophy. There's levels to trophies.
There is, and there's context. This is Arteta's full season now. There's context to this, and what we did last season, it makes sense that we can't be taking the Carabao Cup as a be all and end all if we don't win anything else. Anyway, let's get straight to the call. Let's get the headphones on, because I know there's a lot waiting in the wings, and it's time to have your say. Let's get straight into this, people.
Before we get the first person on,
go.
I've just bought the Man City lineup against Liverpool in their third round. Was it third round or round of 16 game post World Cup? It was a Carabao Cup game. Man City, Liverpool. Yeah, Man City starting lineup was Ortega in goal, rotation. Lewis right back, rotation. Ake was left back, who started left back a lot for them. Laporte and Akanji was centre backs, which is unusual. They did play De Bruyne, they did play Rodri, and they did play Gundogan, so it was a strong midfield. Then it was Mahrez, Haaland, and Cole Palmer. So there was a mix. And I guess when you're playing Liverpool, especially when they've gone back to back for how many years, there's an extra emphasis to mix it up. But then if I go to the next round, 11th of January this year, where Southampton beat them 2-0, and I take a look at Man City's lineup, again, heavily rotated. They have Gomez left back, they have Ortega in goal, they have Calvin Phillips and Cole Palmer in the midfield, they have Alvarez up top, Foden on the right. So at the end of the day, as much as people are saying, why does Pep take it seriously? He's heavily rotated. It's just that they have a squad capable of rotating and still winning.
But yeah, not Lewis Skelly, Roy Waters and all that heavily. But
Lewis,
they are.
Yeah, fair.
But
fair.
I hear you. But they're still rotated with some.
Our problem is the
experience.
young players that have come up in the last 2-3 years. We have placed an importance on them in the starting lineup for the Premier Leagues and so on. Whereas with Man City's Cole Palmer or Foden, they've been bled in differently to how we have with ours. So then
100%.
that means the young players we can bring in for Carabao are younger. And less exposed to people's opinions than a Saka or a Martinelli or whoever else has come up.
Okay, well listen, let's get to the callers because again, me and Turkish, we haven't spoke this out for a long time, so it's good to have him back on the show and have it say. But it's all about you guys. But I hear Alfie is ready to have his. Yes, Alfie.
You're gone. You good? Yeah.
Yeah, good brother. Good to see you again.
And yeah.
Alfie, talk to me.
Yes.
Who should we be taking every cup competition seriously? If you as a fan. Would you be furious if we drop out against Brentford on Wednesday?
I'm in three mindsets about it. Part of me wants them to pay us back for the Tottenham result at the weekend, because I'm still hurting over that, to be honest. I don't think they played well. I feel like we deserve, as fans, as a payback sort of thing. Second thing, I get where touched on for fans, but if I'm thinking about the players, like James said in the preview, like what Mourinho used to win the Carabao Cup, and that got them tasting victory, then hopefully from then we go win the league. That's what I'm sort of thinking.
Can I just step in here?
Yeah.
There's evidence for and against that argument, because you mentioned Chelsea and people can mention City and use that as a catalyst for their further success. But then we take Man United, for example, last season who won the Carabao Cup, or Liverpool the season before who won the Carabao Cup, and then look at the season Liverpool had last year, or look at how Man United have started this season. To be honest with you, it wasn't the Carabao Cup that was the catalyst for Chelsea being a success. It wasn't the Carabao Cup for Man City being a success. The reason for their success comes down from ownership, accountability, and high standards. And the high standards included competing on all fronts. So I wouldn't just use Carabao Cup win as why they've gone on to be so successful, or the reason behind that mentality.
Yeah, I get, like, that's why I said I'm like also in the mindset of what you're at as well. When I'm like, it's the Carabao Cup, like, who cares?
Yeah.
But I know if you ask Odegaard, say, he would say, turn around to all of us and say, yeah, I want to win it. Because it's a trophy at the end of the day. To them, a trophy's a trophy. It's like Tottenham, they were desperate to win this cup. But obviously they got knocked out, which I'm loving. So it's like, because it's a Premier League side, I wouldn't over-rotate. But I would rotate because of the injuries. It's like we're in that sort of catch-2 situation. Sort of
So would you start an Odegaard, a Saka? Would you have some seniority in there? A Saliba, maybe? What seniority players would you have in there?
I would start a Saliba, but only playing for like 60 minutes and then bring him off for another youngster. I would definitely start a Odegaard, because I'm a little bit worried about Smith Rowe. And he hasn't really had that many minutes. Yeah, he came on at the weekend. But that's the only really minutes he's had. So I don't want to like throw him straight in and then get re-injured again. That's a little bit I'm worried about, because I don't want to have more injuries that we already got.
Where does he get his minutes then, Alfie?
I would say sub Odegaard off about 50 minutes. I'd give Odegaard 50 and then bring Smith Rowe on for that. So he still gets good amount of time. So
you want Emil to start featuring maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30, 40 minutes, and then maybe get a start. No. Okay.
I think it needs to be played in like that. Alfie, just quickly, because you mentioned about, you want a response from the Arsenal team. They owe us as fans from what they after the North London derby game. Do you think that is needed for Wednesday's game, or would you rather see that at Bournemouth on Saturday? Because I feel the same sentiment. Like I want to see a better performance, but I'm not fussed if we don't get that come Wednesday. I expect to see that when we go.
And it's a quick turnaround.
It's a massive turnaround.
It's only 2 days between
I know.
Carabao Cup and Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But I would expect the response for all the games, and especially the Man City game, in my opinion, because like it's Tottenham. It's in some opinions, it's the biggest game of the season.
Yeah.
They think about it when the season comes out and all the fixtures come out. You look for the Tottenham game. That's the one game. I don't care if we go fourth in the way. Well, I do, but it's like I want to beat Spurs. We didn't, so I expect for the next 3 games the best performance they can give. Okay, and also with this Tony link, and they haven't touched on it yet. I don't get why Arsenal didn't go for him in summer. So
I mean, obviously the ban because of the gap. I think a lot of clubs didn't go for him then because of what's been going on. Obviously,
but then why get rid of Bannigan then? If we're so desperate to get Tony now, and we suddenly need a striker, why get rid of Bannigan?
I actually think
goals in the French league.
I hear you. I actually think Arsenal's plans were to bring a striker in come the January window. I generally believe that's what they were planning. Now Tony, the interests are high for him. I think they were set on Eddie and Jesus leading the line until January and seeing where we're at.
But what happens if we don't? Because I know Chelsea involved. Chelsea can outspend us. Which is a Todd Bowley. What happens if we don't get Tony? We're stuck with Eddie and Jesus. It's like
there's got to be a plan B. I don't get
why Eddie decided to keep Eddie. I'm with Turkish. Eddie's not a great striker. I ain't one of these fans who's always scapegoating him, but he ain't like the striker we need. Man City got Haaland. It's like if we want to beat Man City, we can't have Eddie starting up front. Like even in the derby, I don't get why Jesus didn't start down the middle. Yeah. It's like, come on.
There's not many Haalands out there though in the defence. I know that's what makes it difficult. I know there's a Victor Osimhen potentially, but
if we don't get Tony and Chelsea get him instead, I would be then worried. Like, why do we not keep Bannigan?
Yeah.
To be honest, I think Chelsea getting Tony could be a blessing in disguise for us because I want Evan Ferguson. And my thing about this season is a lot of people say, maybe our idea was to bring in a striker in January because we're going to need something. My thing is that make sure you're in it in January before worrying about January. That whole thinking doesn't make sense to me because this season, especially, the expectation has risen. We needed to hit the ground running. And some might say we have because we're unbeaten. But being 4 points behind City without even playing them yet, we was 5-8 points ahead of City, having not played them, and they still caught up to us. So as much as people saying I'm being too reactionary, only 6 games in, being 4 points behind, having not played them, it doesn't bode well considering they've actually started the season quite strongly in comparison to seasons before.
You're speaking facts in a way because we're 1 point. I think Robbie said we're 1 point worse than we were last season.
Yeah, 1 point. Yeah,
at this time. But being at 1 point short makes us then in the later run more pressure on us because we didn't do it last season. We bottled it. So like I'm just worried. Yeah, we brought in players and we got squad depth, but have we got enough squad depth? So I don't feel like we do.
Okay.
Honestly,
I thought we was losing you, Alfie. You was getting laughing. What's going on here?
The cameras are funny. Go on, carry on.
But I'm just worried in the way that we haven't got the squad depth and we're going to panic buy in January.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, Alfie, just before you go then, so just to give me your answer, so would you take the EFL Cup game serious, yes or no?
It depends who we play against.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that.
If we play against Spurs or Man United or Chelsea, take it seriously. I'm not losing against them a lot. If we were playing against a League 2, League 1 Championship side, then rotate.
Okay.
It depends who we play against.
Okay, well listen, thank you very much, Alfie. Listen, have a great week and hopefully Arsenal can pick up the win on Wednesday. Vince, straight into Vince, should be here. Hello, Vince.
Hi. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Hi guys. Hi Cecil. Hi Turkish.
Hello,
how are you guys?
Bit of a delay. Where are you calling in from? Quite intrigued.
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Switzerland. It's nice.
That's why you're smiling, man. Life's good over there, yeah?
We have nice weather here.
Nice weather. Right, listen, Vince, let's get straight into this then, my friend. Should Arsenal be taking every cup competition serious in your mind as a fan?
I definitely think we should. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't play to win this one. We should. I mean, if we're pretending to be one of the top teams in the league, we should definitely play this cup seriously.
But do we have the facilities to do that, though? You're talking about, if we want to be like a top team, but do we have the facilities to, go full strong in the Carabao Cup, go full strong against Bournemouth on the weekend? Because injuries have been a problem, as I'm sure you're aware of.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have a lot of injuries that doesn't allow us to. I mean, we are forced to rotate. We cannot go too strong. We need to be careful with some of the other players that are still fit. But I think we cannot just completely rotate the team. So that's why, in my opinion, we should play Saliba in the back as a guarantee for the defense. And in front, we should definitely have Jesus. But I would take the opportunity here to play Smith Rowe and Nelson. When they came in against the Spurs, they were really showing teeth, right? They wanted to play. They want to show something. I think it's going to be great if we have these two guys on the wings. In the center, I'm a little bit puzzled. I said Jorginho. He should never play again for us after Sunday's performance. But I think we don't really have the choice here. But I would play him along with Havertz and Fabio Vieira.
Well, Vince, what about El Nene? We got a choice. El Nene, we gave him a year contract.
No, I don't think El Nene is going to be good enough. I mean, he hasn't been playing for a long time. I think we have both Vieira and Havertz come before El Nene, especially for a game like this.
Okay. No, I just meant Jorginho, but yeah.
Okay. Vince, your front three, go on.
My front three, as I said, I mean, Smith Rowe on the left, Jesus as a striker, and Nelson on the right.
Wow. Okay, just Vince, just roll with me here. Why did Arsenal, for you, in your mind, not win the season last year? Just walk with me here. What did you think? What was the main factor? What was it down to, in your opinion?
It was just mentality at the end of the season, right? I mean, there were a couple of games we needed to win, and we just drew or lost. And it's all about the mentality. I don't think it has anything to do with injuries, etc. It really is the killer mentality. Let's finish it off. Let's win the season. And I think that it really boils down to that at the end of the season. Yeah.
That does back your argument there, because I thought you was going to say, which I went with, was Saliba going down in the Europa League, and obviously you starting Saliba, you would like to see him start come Wednesday. I would have said it is a bit of a risk to play him, because if he goes down again, I think we're in an injury crisis. But if you're saying mentality, it kind of falls in the line of, okay, so we take it every cup competition seriously. You think the boys will have the mentality to just keep that intent and pressure on, say, City going forward? If we have every game or every cup competition, if we're taking it completely serious, you think that will bode well for Arsenal then?
Yeah, look, I mean, we need to take the risk of having injuries. We do have a lot of injuries right now, but if we are starting to be protective of our toys, let's say, and not play the best players just because we're worried that they're going to be injured, we're not going to go anywhere. So Saliba, I think he's strong enough. He can play. Yes, there's a risk. There's always a risk that he's going to get injured. But no, I think we need to take the chances. We cannot just put a B or a C team tomorrow evening. And even if that means, okay, let's say we have an injury on Saliba or an injury on Jesus again. And that's a problem for playing Man City in a week and a half. Then is it in a week and a half or 2 weeks? I don't know. I mean, the game against City is obviously an important one.
2 weeks, yeah.
But yeah, I think we need to take that risk. We can't just... I mean, if we lose tomorrow evening, seriously, everybody's going to hate it. We're already out of a competition, a possible trophy, and nobody would want that.
I don't know, I don't, Vince, I'll be honest. I think there'll be some fans, like, I've spoken to fans, they've said, look, let's be real. Like we saw in the comments, Mickey Mouse Cup. Who cares about the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup? So if we do lose, listen, I don't want to lose any game, and I do want us to take it seriously.
Exactly.
If we do lose, but some fans will say, good riddance. Let's focus on the FA Cup, the Champions League, and the Premier League.
Yeah, but I mean, we said the same with the Europa League last year, right? I mean, we said, hey, good riddance. It's we're not in the Europa League anyways, and at the end of the day, it would have been nice to win it. So yeah. I think keeping our chances in every cup. I mean, it's finding the right balance, right?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, well, listen, just before we go, just give me a score prediction for Wednesday's game. How confident are you feeling? Give me a score prediction before you go, Vince.
I think we're going to win 3-1.
Okay, 3-1. That's a confident result come Wednesday.
I'm confident in our team.
Big up. Well, listen, thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy Switzerland, Vince, and have a great week. Thank you very much.
Guys.
Nice one, guys.
So we have a next caller here.
Dini.
Is it bigger fish to fry? Forget the Carabao Cup. Turkish. Is it bigger fish to fry? Forget this trophy, man. We don't need this. We're Arsenal Football Club, or is it, yo, take this serious? We're struggling right now. I'll be real.
Do you know what? Do you know what it is like? I hear every single point. I hear everything about the Carabao Cup. But for me personally, and in the football world, I'm greedy. So I want to win everything. I want to see Arsenal's name on everything. But is it a thing of the Carabao Cup's not going to be the be-all and end-all of our season because it's not the main trophy? So we get that, absolutely. But when those players step up on the pitch, I expect that their mentality is to win the game. I don't want them to be thinking, oh, this is a nice place to get some minutes, to get a run out and this, that, and the other. No, I need them to turn up and I want them to win it because it's them that are wanting these minutes to potentially play in the Premier League or the Champions League. So it's their opportunity to step up and actually play some good football. Us as fans, like, we can debate for hours about whether it's important or not. But those players, whoever it is, I mean, I laughed when you said the midfield of Jorginho, El Neni, and Kai.
It's mad, isn't it?
A stiff, immobile.
I know. Trust me.
But I get it. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying because we do need to protect.
But Dini, do you get it though? Because that means that's throwing away. For me, that is throwing away the competition. I don't care.
But the maddest thing is though, Jorginho, out of all the players that will step up on that midfield, Jorginho is the most experienced out of all those players. He's probably one of the most out of all those players that will step up on that pitch tomorrow. Kai Havertz, Champions League winner, like, these are players. These are not, even though they may not have performed well in the last couple of years and this, that, and the other, these are players that have stepped up in big games, even though the Carabao Cup might be a good game, but I need you lot to do it in this game. I need you to do it in this game. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. It's an interesting
one.
Tough.
It's tough.
It is tough because it sounds all pretty and lovely that we say take everything serious, and we're fans. We want to see a trophy regardless. Listen,
absolutely.
The Carabao Cup to me again, it's not a major trophy, but if we win it, I'll enjoy the day. But I'm not going to.
And you know what? Sorry. I need to say this as well. The reason why I personally want to win this Carabao Cup is only because it was the first game I ever saw as an Arsenal fan was that Carabao Cup final.
Was that 1993?
No, my first game was when we lost to Birmingham 2-1.
Oh, okay.
That was my first ever Arsenal game. So it's mentally scarred me. That Koscielny, the Szczesny, Obafemi Martins, that still lives rent-free in my head because it was my first game, because it was a cup and this, that, and the other. So that's why, me personally, I want to see us lift this cup. But regardless, we need to take the game seriously because it's about mentality. And if the players lose, they go into the next game against Bournemouth. We've not won in 2 games. And then what do? We go away to Bournemouth, and if we don't win, then we go into the Champions League. That's 3 games. Because we're playing a lot more games and a lot more quicker now, that's already in a week. We haven't won in 3 games, and we can't be taking that to a team like Man City in the next couple of weeks. So that's why. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Dean, you're talking with extreme intent to say, let's go serious. How serious, bro? Your chest is half out. How serious? What are you saying? Martin Odegaard there? Are you saying Saka there? Are you saying Jesus? Because that's the energy you're giving me is like, no, take this completely seriously.
My point is, I think Turkey is not. I think we even said it earlier on the space. We have the players that should come, and we should have enough our squad big enough. The expectation, you should be able to go and beat Brentford. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
So put the players on the table then. Put the players on the table that you want to see start then. Because I don't think we have that depth right now with injuries. But go on.
No. I'm saying we should still be able to. Even with that squad, we should be able to go and beat Brentford tomorrow. Whether we do or not, it's down to them. I would love to see players like Sousa and Roy Waters and Nwaneri come in. But we didn't even see them in pre-season. So the likelihood of us even seeing them tomorrow or even for the rest of the season is highly unlikely, because if Arteta's not even trusting Nelson or even Smith Rowe to come on in the North London derby and even inject something or even start the game, then I don't know what to expect. It's all up in the air at the moment. But when that whistle is blown tomorrow, I just need whoever is on the field to just take the game serious. They need to take it seriously more so than us.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Didi. Well, interesting. Listen, thank you for having your saying and coming
Dini,
on, man.
Before he goes, you know what? I stayed quiet for a bit because it's me saying Jorginho, El Nene, and Havertz was different to me hearing it. And then you rattled me.
Mad.
You rattled me, even though you quoted me. You rattled me. In my head, I'm thinking, what else can I do to this midfield? But yeah, it is what it is, man.
That is funny.
I can't lie, it was wild.
Dean,
Roll safe, yeah.
Love
Deanie,
Always.
bless up,
Come on.
bless up, Dean. It's always
Take
good to
care,
see
yeah.
you. Is it Bao next? Hey, Bao.
What are you saying?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Well,
Here it's
afternoon here, but
afternoon.
good
Where are you
morning to
calling in
you.
from? Yeah.
I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah,
Sure,
ATL.
Okay. We like it there.
What time is it over there?
It's 9:46.
Okay,
The
cool.
morning shift. All right. Well, I'm going to let Turkish lead this, but we are the overarching question to begin with. Would you be taking every competition serious? Because I've spoken to fans. Some say this is a Mickey Mouse Cup. Forget the Carabao Cup, Tin Pot Trophy. Some people even said the FA Cup. I don't even want to see that this season because we've won it so many times. But where are you at? We have a game this Wednesday. How serious?
I feel like we need to take every competition serious. Because after Sunday, if we don't take anything serious, man, we're out. There'll be a dark cloud around the team and it will really affect us.
So, Doubt, if we play full strength team tomorrow, do you think that's taking Bournemouth away on Saturday serious?
If I say serious, we can use Havertz, we can use Rob Holding, the one we sold out. He's wearing number 20 now.
Rob Holding.
The one wearing number 20. What's his name again?
Okay.
Jorginho.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, you don't want to after the weekend. You don't want to mention his name, nah?
That's our new Rob Holding.
That's our new opponent.
So I get you. You're more with me. You take it serious, but you expect the rotated team to be able to get the job done.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's an interesting one, Bao, because would you rotate heavily in a sense of let the youngsters play in this game then? Because you said you
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I'll do that. Yes.
Bao, they're not. I'll be honest. Are they going to get the job done? Waters, yeah.
Walter, Tomiyasu, Jorginho, aka Holding, El Nani, Smith Rowe.
But do you know what? Dini makes a good point. But Bao, Dini makes a good point. We didn't see them in pre-season. What makes you think Arteta is really going to make them play against Brentford? If you want to take this serious, that's not serious taking this competition. Then you know.
I feel like every player we have now, we have to take them serious because that's what we have.
Then you got to go strong. No, you got to go stronger than what you just said there.
We can play Odegaard, Saka in this game.
We can
because they are tired already. We've played 6 games and they look tired.
Yeah, they are tired. So, but you expect Ethan Nwaneri, Will Waters, and all that to get the job done against Brentford, who are not a bad side. They're a Premier League, really.
Because they're also going to rotate.
But to me, you're throwing the competition away, in my opinion. If you're going to rotate that much.
If we are paying them and we believe in them and we have them, we have to take them serious.
Okay, you're throwing them to the wolves, but I hear it. Okay.
I mean, taking a competition seriously doesn't mean you win the competition, or taking a game seriously doesn't mean you win the game. You can take games or competition seriously and still fuck about.
Yeah, but that heavily rotating with all of those young. I understand it. He's saying don't forget Bukayo Saka, forget Emile Smith, forget Martin Odegaard and all them, man. But to me, you have to have drops of experience.
Yeah, but the man that come in, but he just mentioned, and I've mentioned Jorginho, experience. He's been Champions League fan, he's been Euro fan.
Exactly.
Mentioned El Nene, who's the longest standing member of the Arsenal side.
El Nene hasn't played in so long.
Experienced.
But we know what but we know what we're doing here, people. We're not. You need. Listen. We know what we're doing here. Havertz, fine, but that's not experience that's going to win you this game against Brentford, in my opinion. If you're saying the likes of Bukayo Saka, a William Saliba, an Odegaard, that's different. Jorginho, I'll actually allow. I know he had a bad performance against the North London rivals, but he is experienced in there. But when you're saying Raul Waters, Ethan Nwaneri, with even El Neni in there, then a Reece Nelson, a Rob Holding, that to me, a Raul Waters and a Rob Holding, that's throwing the competition away. Coming against a player like Mbeumo, he would eat them up.
This is the thing. That's what we have, and we have to believe in them. Okay. Because if we're not going to play Smith, Nelson, and the rest, when are we going to play them?
Okay, yeah, no, you make it. Okay, fine. You make a good point. I want to see. I would like to see Emile Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson start. I'm just talking about the back line. Some of the names mentioned there, I worry for making them play.
I think our fans need to wake up a little bit. Not Dow. I mean the fans that would argue against putting the Carabao Cup at the bottom of the list in terms of going as strong as you can. Our fans need to wake up. Are we challenging or are we competing with Man United, Tottenham, Chelsea, and Newcastle, or are we competing with Man City, Liverpool? And I mean this as the big picture of going into this season.
Yeah, we're competing with the top, of course. Man City.
I've just mentioned Manchester City's lineups heading into League Cup wins and whatnot. Not last season they didn't win it, but they've rotated heavily. No one would say, "Oh, you don't take this competition seriously." All people are saying is they've won the competition.
But there's drops of highly skilled players in. They have rotated
because they are a greater squad than we are. So we have to understand that they have a greater squad. They have a more depth. They have young players that can come in and still be next to a top player. Yeah. Because that top player doesn't get as many minutes as he should in the league or something. So they've got that balance perfect in terms of lineup strength, rotation, and priorities in the season, and they still managed to win a hell of a lot. With us, we've got to understand our squad is not like Manchester City's, and I just don't mean numbers wise, I mean experience wise, I mean competing at the top level, and there has to be a certain amount of protection if we are in that mindset that this season is about competing with City and Liverpool for a league title or Champions Leagues and whatnot. Or are we going in to try get a Carabao Cup so we can go laugh at United and Tottenham and Chelsea at the end of the season because we got a trophy? What mentality are we in? I'm trying to go to the top.
So yeah, I'm with you, and I think Bale's with you as well. And I just feel like we're throwing away the trophy. This
I'm
trophy
not throwing it away.
Okay, but so for me, I'm saying you can rotate in this Arsenal side, but have drops of strength in there. Jorginho, I agree with. I wouldn't put Kai Havertz. Yeah, he's got to be in there. He has to be in there. That to me, that's not experience.
That's the one.
The only thing I disagree with is the back line of having like a Raul Waters and a D'Souza and all that. I think you keep with the fringe players. Cedric, I think you can play. I think you can put him in there. I think you can put him in there. I think you can put Tomiyasu as well. Kivior as well. Yes, it's just more the academy players. I don't feel like they need to come in. I think we can put in drops of strength. I still think we should play Bukayo Saka in my opinion. Because I saw that from last season.
Tomiyasu can come out later for like Waters or something to play like 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, before we go, Bao, just give me your score prediction for Wednesday.
2-1.
2-1. Okay.
Nice one, bro.
Nice
2-1 to the Gunners.
Come on, 2-1 to the Gunners. I'm glad you didn't say Brentford, my friend, but thank you very much.
All right.
And Melvin
love, enjoy.
Take care, Bao. Melvin?
Yep, Melvin.
You there? Can you hear me? Just say...
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, bro. I can hear you. What are you calling in? Oh, there he goes. While Melvin, we sort out what's going on with Melvin there, I do want to just read you the FA Cup team that we played against City. So remember, it's an FA Cup game, right?
And that was heavily rotated?
Heavily rotated. But there's drops of experience in here. This is what
that's the FA Cup. It's more important than the Carabao Cup.
Turkish. But you, come on. All right, let me just read out. It is. It definitely is. But I still want the same sort of consistency from Arteta going into this Carabao Cup game. Because I think, because it's Brentford, you can still rotate, but still have a bit of strength in there. Matt Turner in goal, heavily rotated. Tomiyasu as well. Rob Holding. Gabriel Magalhaes. Kieran Tierney. Fabio Vieira. Thomas Partey. Granit Xhaka. Bukayo Saka. Eddie. And Leandro Trossard. Martinelli was on the bench there. Odegaard was on the bench. Ben White was on the bench. William Saliba was on the bench. There's a lot of players. Zinchenko was on the bench. That is the sort of rotation I personally want to see. If you're against, are you more so against that? I want to actually stick with. I want to see more youngsters. I want to see.
Reason being because we've got enough injuries as it is.
Okay.
We've got enough injuries. I don't want to risk no one for Brentford in the Carabao Cup, and then we're light against City at the Emirates in 2 weeks. I don't want no excuses for that game.
Fair. All right, let's get in our next caller and let's see his take on thoughts on it. Dylan, is that how you pronounce your name?
Hey guys.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Turkish, how are you?
You're right, Dylan, man. All good.
Dylan, very good right now. Just having a nice debate on this topic, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I was listening to what you guys and the previous caller said as well. I think we should play a rotated team. We should give Reece Nelson, Emil Smith-Rowe, all of them a chance to play, because them coming off the bench without having any game time, like you saw what happened to Jorginho. Like if Jorginho had any game time before that North London derby, I don't think he made that mistake.
Okay, so would you start El Neni and Cedric?
I would start El Neni and Cedric. I would start
they've
Kibio in the back.
They've had no game time though, so they can make.
Yeah, but we need to use these cup competitions, especially the Carabao Cup, as like the minutes to give the minutes to all the players, the bench players, because we don't want them to come off the bench against, let's say, City in 2 weeks' time. We don't want them to come off cold. They need some game time. They need to play a little bit and get used to all the environment at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for me, like I heard Turkey say on the Big Six, we gave Emil Smith-Rowe and Reece Nelson big contracts. These guys need to take part, like have a part in the team. They have to play. They have to carry the team in these cup competitions. That's what they're there for.
Mm-hmm.
They are not getting. They don't start in the Premier League, so they have to start in these cup competitions.
Yeah.
And for me, these guys have to be the leaders in those cup competitions, and then we can rest Odegaard, we can rest Saka, we can wait for Martinelli, Trossard to come back, and hopefully Declan Rice. I hope I haven't really checked, but I hope he doesn't have a serious injury and he comes back.
It's not serious. He said it's a lower back, but they say it's a back injury. They're saying he will be back hopefully in time for Man City. So.
And then we can give time for Kivio, because when he comes on, sometimes he's been a bit off of it. So him getting more game time would help us in the long run, because we are going to play 3 games a week for a long time.
Yeah.
And we need all of these players ready to go whenever they are called upon. So like, I agree, I agree that we need to take this seriously, but also at the same time, these players need to step up and be the face of Arsenal in these Carabao Cup games.
100%.
Does the team in your head beat Brentford, honestly? In the team that you have in your head, do they beat Brentford?
Yeah, they should be. Because Brentford's going to rotate the team a bit. Not as much as we will, but they will. And we have a strong bench, and the players in the bench should be able to win a game against Brentford.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
No,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I agree with Dylan still. You pretty much agree with me. I agree with you, but that's exactly how I'd go about it.
Wait, before we go, but academy players, because this is where it differs a little bit.
Yeah, well, there has to be a good mix of academy players. Like, I don't mind Nwaneri playing, but this is a good game for Havertz. If Havertz can get a goal here, and like, I believe Havertz is going to be a good player for us. Like, I really believe he's going to be a good player for us.
That's where we disagree.
But
I was going to say, because if he scores against Brentford at the EFL Cup, no one's going.
Dylan, you ruined it, man. You ruined it.
Some people may listen.
I know, but hey, look, Havertz scoring with El Neni and Jorginho behind him. Come on, that's gonna put a smile on everyone's face.
They should start against Bournemouth if he does, but yeah.
But yeah, like, look, every competition, I think we should go the distance, and hopefully we do.
Thank you. Well, listen, thank you very much, Dylan. Lovely, well spoken as well. Lovely having you on. Hopefully you have a great week, and we'll speak to you
bye,
again
guys.
soon. Take care. Mans,
Hi, how are you guys?
You're always out and Mans. You're always active. You never like
always. But then I see a notification from that AFTV app.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I need to say something.
Okay, well, let's get straight into it then. Let's get your thoughts. Should we be taking every cup competition serious? Is this a competition that you want to see Arsenal go strong in come Wednesday?
Listen, I'm a bit surprised that we call any cup Mickey Mouse Cup, given that in the last 20 years we've only won the FA Cup, I believe. So I believe we should take competition seriously. I believe we should evaluate our chances of winning the Premier League. So that's definitely not a given. So given that I'll be evaluating our manager at the end of the season on cups as well, on what he's won and what he hasn't won, because he's only got that one FA Cup since the beginning, then yeah, I'd definitely take the Community Shield seriously. But at the same time, I understand what Turkish is saying as well. I wouldn't risk Saka or Odegaard in this particular match because, we've got bigger games coming up, especially because we've got City coming up next week. So a good balance perhaps between regular players and, I'd stick a few academy players in there. And Waniri, I'd certainly try.
Wow.
I'd be tempted to try that 65 million giraffe up front, actually, instead of trying him as a number 8.
Oh, Havertz
Maybe
up
he
top
can
there,
bring.
okay. Havertz up top.
Yeah, no, he's not really inspired me as a number 8. So maybe try him in attack. Maybe he can do something there. I agree with Reece Nelson.
But Mans, if he does well up top against Brentford, say if he just scores 1 goal, are you as a fan saying, we've got to get him up top then against Bournemouth?
No.
But this is, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because this is why I'm unpacking it as much as I can, because we're saying go strong, we're saying try things, but I don't know how much of an effect it has going forward. But again, I think people are just trying to see what Havertz can bring to this Arsenal side. But go on, carry on with some of the players.
That's exactly why I would try him up front in this game. See what he can bring. I just don't think he brings enough as a number 8. I don't see him as a number 8. I'm only speaking because we've signed him now. We have to use him at times, and if there is a time to use him, let's do it in the Carabao Cup. Maybe, I doubt it strongly, but if there's a player in there, maybe that's where he's going to unveil himself in these cups, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatnot, and bring Kivior in. I think he should be, bring players that should be desperate to get into that team, into the lineup in that Carabao Cup game. But at the same time, we would have to use a Saliba because we don't have any other central. Well, or we could use a Ben White and maybe play Cedric Soares on the right. But yeah, I would try to take as many competitions seriously as I can.
Okay. Just give me your score prediction before we cut to the next caller. Just your score prediction for Wednesday, with your team in mind as well, your rotated team.
Brentford are going to be pissed off, aren't they? They've just lost to Everton 3-1 at home.
Bro, it's going to be a tough game, but no, I don't know. People don't seem it will be, but it definitely will be. Go on. What do you think the score is going to be?
1-1, and then penalty shootout, and we'll go through on penalties.
James said something very similar to that. Okay.
Yeah,
he did. Very similar.
James is the voice of reason, so.
Okay, well listen, man.
No.
Thank you for on that note. Thank you for joining us, man. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
We actually have a James up next. Is James there?
Yes.
I thought it was going to be. I really thought it was going to be our James, but it's always a pleasure to see a different James. Big up, James.
What's up, guys? Before I start, can I plug my YouTube channel, Box to Box Football? So, guys, definitely go check that out. Box to Box Football. I know
that's a nice name still. That's a nice name still, James.
First of all, my one started like 5 years ago. So you
I don't know, man. Where's the proof? Let me go on your channel right now, bro. Let me investigate this. James.
Put down Box to Box Football. To be fair, I've changed the name like 3 times, but I had Box to Box before you guys. No, I had Box to Box before.
Okay.
So definitely.
Should never have omitted that bit, but no, of course you can plug your channel, bro, and everyone that's listening and watching on, please go subscribe.
You'll hear from my lawyer. Don't worry about that. Sharoy, talk to him.
So, but yes, talk to me, James, just quickly on the topic. You can also plug your channel, of course, as well. But talk to me on, should Arsenal be taking every cup competition seriously, especially coming this Wednesday? We've got Brentford. Where are you at on this debate?
100%. I don't understand this arrogance, especially from Arsenal fans. Like, we won the FA Cup 5 times in the last 20 years. So why should we not take a cup competition seriously? I remember last season we're talking about going for league, and obviously it was great, and we came close to winning the league. But I remember when we got knocked out of the Europa League, a lot of fans were like, "Oh yeah, let's concentrate on the Premier League." And what happened there? You have to take every competition seriously, because at the end of the day, you may not win the league. There's only one team that can win the league. But let's just say you finish with a thing where you won an FA Cup or a League Cup. You kind of finish the season a lot happier than like, to me, just getting top 4. You want that day out in Wembley. You want that opportunity. You want the opportunity to laugh with the fans.
I'm with you.
We won a trophy. You didn't. I don't understand this arrogance. Usually, the arrogance comes from when you get knocked out. So like when we got knocked out of the FA Cup against City, it was like, oh, don't worry about that. We got the league. Now we can rest our players. Then we got knocked out of the League Cup. We got knocked out of the Europa League. We can rest. And then what happened?
Yeah,
we finished with pies. I totally don't understand.
I'm with you there, but now I need to dissect it, because me and you, I think in the same way, but I need to dissect it. You're saying take it serious are you playing the likes of William Saliba in this game? Are you playing an Odegaard? Are you playing a Bukayo Saka? I'm not saying I'm starting all these players, but how serious are you taking it?
No, I mean, I grew up at a time where I seen Arsene Wenger put out a bunch of youngsters and we were beating Sheffield United 6-0. You don't need, to me, majority of the time, your first teamers out there. Well, when you actually look at it there, Eddie still needs to play. Emil Smith-Rowe needs to play. Nelson needs to play. I think Kai Havertz needs to play because he needs to get confidence in there. Jorginho needs to play. Ramsdale needs to play. There's so many players, like when you look at it, when you look at the starting lineup that we can actually put out there, it's still a very strong team, you know. So it's not a thing where we got a gun hole and we got to play Sakas and all that. No. You guys can rest, but we still have a very strong squad that we can go out, and win that game easily.
I'm fully with you. Now, academy players. Then I want to push a little bit more. Academy players, do you leave them aside for this game? I just want to see how serious you're taking these competitions because this is my exact mindset currently.
We might have to do the whole Wenger thing where it's a bit of the first teamers with one or two academy players there. Now, I'm not totally tapped in with the academy player, but like who's the 15-year-old?
Ethan Nwaneri. But would you start him though, or are you just saying he just travels to have that experience, or do you start these?
I think he just travels. And to be fair, what I would also do is maybe have one or two first teamers there. Maybe we might have Jesus on the bench if it does get a bit sticky. We need to bring him on just to get the victory over the line. But it's a thing that, to me, we need to go to Brentford and we need to win. Yeah, let's have this mentality. Yeah, I do understand Turkish. You mentioned Man City squad, but Guardiola, when they got knocked out of the League Cup, was always upset because at the end of the day, that to me, the League Cup was just a good start to like City's dominance every single year. They get the League Cup through, and then they can look at the Premier League, Champions League, whatever. To me, if we can get that start, and especially with this team right now, who, in my opinion, they need that trophy. You see what it was like when we won that Community Shield. I didn't care as much because I had this superstition about if we win the Community Shield, we might not win the league. But silverware does matter, and once you get that sniff, you get used to it. Like you get used to the big occasions. Something that our squad is very, very sketchy with. If you just get them more comfortable in big occasions, it can make a big difference. Personally.
Okay, James, I like the way you listen. James I might have changed my name, but James is speaking very well when it comes to Arsenal. But, big up, James. I'm with you there. And in a lot of what you said there, I think there is rotation definitely needs to happen, but I think we do take it.
That's what I'm saying. The two things can live in the same world.
Yeah, they can.
You rotate, but you take it seriously. That's my thing.
Do you know what my thing? And I feel like obviously there's examples that you've said that some teams go and win the Carabao Cup and don't kick on. So there's an argument on that side, but it's also, I know we're not City, but I saw the Big Steve put up the photos of their team photo and they got the trophies line. That burned me, bro. I'm like, bro.
You know what?
They got the trophies lined up in front of them. And I'm
but it burns you because of the Premier League and Champions League. It doesn't burn you.
No.
It's facts.
Go, James.
No. My biggest thing is that I remember the era from like 2006 all the way to 2014 where like we didn't win a trophy, and the League Cup was a priority. And that, and to me, that 6 year part, like where we didn't win anything, and Man United were winning. Chelsea were winning. Even Liverpool snuck a trophy in there. That burned me, and I'm still scarred by that. And I want us to stack up trophies to make sure that we can, live up to them. Because another thing that is a part of it is history. Yeah. At the end of the day, the little thing we're going to mention is, man, like when we talk about the biggest team in England, Manchester City are slowly but surely maybe creeping over Arsenal. They already got that Champions League. They already got God knows how many Premier League titles and how many more they're going to win. Yeah, we need to stay afloat. We need to make sure that Man City don't catch up with us. And that League Cup count does make a big difference when you're stacking up trophies overall. I know some people would think it doesn't matter, but to me, it does make a big difference. Like you look at the last 20 odd years, how many trophies did Chelsea win? Yeah. And like during that period, they had 4 or 5 league titles. Yeah. Manchester City, they have like 6 league titles. Since their new owners came in. So to me, let's not be arrogant. Yeah, let's not be arrogant. And of course, we're not going to go gun-ho, but let's try and stack up these trophies because even Mikel Arteta, he's only won 1 trophy as an Arsenal manager. 1. Yeah, and he's been here for 5 years now. It is an issue. Let's not lie.
Okay. Listen, James, just give me your score prediction for Wednesday before you head out.
Score prediction. I've been hearing a lot of people say penalties. I think we win on penalties, and a big thing. Aaron Ramsdale shines on the penalties because he's been a bit sketchy for Arsenal over the years. I'm not going to forget that last Europa League game. So Aaron Ramsdale comes with trumps and Arsenal beat Brentford on penalties. I'll take that.
I like that. That'll be a big boost for his confidence as well if that does
James.
go that way. Well, listen, James, thank you so much, my brother. Have a great day. Thank you so much. That is it for the callers. And sorry to anyone that didn't get in on the Fan Zone, but we are back twice a week on Fan Zone, so make sure you guys get involved. We have a super chat, and I've enjoyed this one. I can't lie. I have enjoyed this a lot. I'm going to go to super chat quickly from Bo that says, must rotate, can't lose crucial players. Arteta needs to manage players better. I can't remember our last good performance without Odegaard. Can you? I think when Odegaard is out the side, no. Who said when Jesus is out the side, the team just doesn't seem to flow?
I've said that. A lot of people said that.
And then again, Odegaard, does that have the same effect? But sometimes Odegaard can hide. But is he the catalyst? I don't know. I think there needs to be rotation, but it'll be interesting to see an Arsenal side without a Jesus and without an Odegaard, and see how we adapt, how we play. Because it's a Premier League side, it'll be a tough game. It'll be very interesting. Turkish, thank you very much for joining me on this Fan Zone. Very mixed opinions when it comes to should Arsenal take every cup competition seriously. I know we kind of went through who should start. We spoke about that. There is plenty of content coming your way on that as well from AFTV. We didn't touch on the Ivan Toney links too much, but I'm sure that will keep progressing throughout the months, and we will be covering it throughout. And obviously, there's breaking news on the channel about some certain players returning from injury, the likes of Declan Rice, a Trossard, and a Martinelli. That is amazing news, just in time for Man City. They're saying hopefully that does come true, and we have a full strength side. Because I wanted to talk to Turkish about a full strength Arsenal squad. Can they really go ahead and push City or even beat City to the Premier League title? But I think we'll leave that for another show. I think the squad can do it, in my opinion, but we'll leave it for another show. Thank you everyone that's joined us. Download the AFTV Plus app so you can get involved in the future. Like the video if you like the video. It's been a great conversation, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Take care.
Love.
Peace.